I will cover a few points and priorities from an African perspective in my role as the Director for Technology and Climate Change in the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Obviously, perhaps not comprehensively the time before us, but look forward to any follow-up questions. Let me start by underlining in particular what I would say are both the risk and the opportunity associated with both the digital transformation that needs to happen and the move towards climate resilience that needs to happen. The UN Secretary General has underlined that these are potentially the most transformative issues facing the world, but Africa is very much at the center of this transformation because Africa remains the least connected continent and the most affected by climate change. Our estimates show that climate change will cost African countries 5% of GDP as a minimum on average by 2030. And that's based on 2 degrees of warming. We are currently on track for close to 3 degrees of warming. In the Sahel, this means potentially up to 15% of GDP being lost. So looking at some of the tools that have been developing also under the WSIS tracks, the framework is very much around the African Union Digital Transformation Strategy, which is adopted in 2020. But we also have the AU Continental Data Policy Framework adopted in July 2022, which gives us one of the building blocks really for the digital transformation that we want to see. And we've also seen progress on the interoperability framework at the continental level, and also movement on the continental approach for artificial intelligence. So I think at the policy level, we are really seeing leadership on the African continent in terms of moving forward in the digital transformations that are required. On infrastructure, we can also see that this has been placed at the heart of the African Union's efforts with 11 ICT projects under the Program for Infrastructure Development known as the PIDA projects. So of those adopted in 2021, 11 out of the 69 projects were ICT related, again showing the importance of addressing this issue of accessibility, because these are infrastructure projects. They are the implementation of regional cables, for example, just to illustrate some of them. And these are also coupled with a large proportion. The largest component of PIDA projects are actually around energy, and I think we need to look at this ICT and energy access going together, and certainly in the African context. In the context of capacity building and development, this is another very important aspect of the WSIS initiatives. And unfortunately, Africa does have the lowest implementation of appropriate capacity development aspects, with only 25% of African citizens having access to basic ICT skills. And the situation is worse when we look at more advanced skills. Part of the approach to address this, we are working with the government of Rwanda for the establishment of a regional center of excellence on education in science, technology, engineering, the arts and mathematics, or STEAM. We hope that this will be up and running in 2023. And this will aim to support curriculum development, including particularly focus on ICT across the continent at the early education level. This is being complemented by our work on artificial intelligence. In addition to the continental approach on the policy level, there is also established in 2022 the Regional Center on Artificial Intelligence in the Republic of Congo, which aims to connect academics, institutions across the continent and apply artificial intelligence in areas such as climate change. And this should complement the private sector initiatives, which are multiple on the continent and are not designed to replace, but rather complement. We also are encouraged by movements on the African Continental Free Trade Area Digital Protocol, and this is being complemented by initiatives led by ECA, such as the African Trade Exchange Portal, or ATEX, which is currently, ECA was involved in the establishment, is now being run by the African Import-Export Bank, Afrexim Bank, with the idea to also support that in terms of financing. To conclude, I would like to flag the importance of addressing the digital divide, which is economic. We see the rise of inequality, and that's linked to access to ICT infrastructure and opportunities. There's also the gender divide in terms of access to ICT education, as well as access to the internet and access to appropriate digital tools. And this needs to be addressed through a comprehensive aspects of capacity development, but also very strong normative approaches, both at the continental level, regional level, and national level. And I would like to conclude by emphasizing the role that we see for the digital compacts as part of the Future Summit for 2023. And we see this as an opportunity to build commitment at the national level, as well as commitments from international entities, United Nations, and all of our partners. We appreciate very much coming together for this WSIS process, and we look forward to the successful implementation. Thank you so much.